Hello knitting friends, hello, welcome back to another episode 11 of the Wonderful World of Knitting podcast. To any new viewers, I'm Kathleen and we live in London and I'm a knitter. And it has been a little while, so yes, life just got in the way, it got really busy, so yeah, we all know what it's like sometimes. So that's why it has been some time. But so I have a lot to show you today. Yes, it's a packed episode full of FOs and full of whips. I'm going to jump straight in. Because why waste time? Why talk about life? I can talk about that later on in the episode. Give a quick update. So yes, I have 3 finished objects because I haven't podcasted for, as I said, for some time. Things accumulated, and I have 4 whips to show you today. So yeah, I think we're just gonna jump straight in and let's get chatting about our knitting. Right, yes, let's do it. FO number 1. So any returning viewers, you would have seen this in previous episodes. This is my Ankers Summer Shirt. It is finished. Well, I finished it quite a while ago. Ankers Summer Shirt. However, I only really used the pattern as a, well, not as a blank canvas, but it just basically is not a summer shirt. So it's the pattern Ankers Summer Shirt by Petite Knit. I'm gonna link it all below in the description, all the details, everything. But because I've knitted it with some warmer yarn and I did long sleeves, that's why it's really not a summer shirt. It's actually the perfect spring and autumn top sweater. And I'm just gonna show a close-up here. So the yarn I used is, I've combined two yarns together to create this garment. Excuse me for the crinkling noise. I have used Hedgehog Fibres Cashmere Merino, excuse me, in the color Teacup. Yeah, so you can't really see that. Yes, Hedgehog Fibres. It's a Cashmere Merino blend, 50% Cashmere, 50% Merino, and I've held this together with the Knitting for Olive silk, pure silk, in a kind of cream color. Yes, held them both together, so 2 different fibers held together, which created a really interesting fabric. Very soft because it contains cashmere and wool, so it's warm and soft. But then the silk gave it the structure, if that makes sense. And the heaviness as well. It's quite a heavy sweater actually. And I'm just going to show the yoke. So it's a yoked sweater. And it has 3 whip sections here. In the pattern there are 4 whip sections, so I omitted the first one just because I tend to like wider necklines. The original design, it sits quite high up on the neck, and I don't actually like that too much. It doesn't suit my body shape, I don't think. And then, did I do any other modifications? No, I think I stayed true to the gauge, I believe. It has a gauge of 20. I've got my project page here. For every project that I knit, I always fill out the details so I know exactly, it's a good reference point. I can just go back and just look at the project, even if it was 2 years ago, you know exactly what gauge you got, what yarn you used. So this is what I have. It's my knitting journal sheet. So the pattern gauge is 20 stitches, and I think I achieved that as well. Knitted it on 4.5 millimeter. Ankers Summer Shirt, I would highly recommend it for any new knitters as well, for beginners. It's a probably good first sweater because it doesn't contain short rows as far as I remember. So if you are still a little bit nervous about short rows and things like that, then why don't you give this one a go? Would be a perfect summer top. If you choose a non-animal fiber, you could produce a lovely summer top. Also, just want to point out that it does also have some raglan shaping here as well. Yeah. So yeah, that's it. I've worn it a few times, and I got a compliment actually from a colleague in the office, so that was very sweet. Yeah, from my lovely colleague Stuart. Yeah, I mean, in my office, it's a very male-dominated environment. There's only 2 women of us in this open plan office that I work in. So you know, with my wearing my hand knits, they obviously men don't really notice. They don't know. So yeah, so it's kind of a one-off thing when you get compliments from a man in the work environment. Yeah, I mean, I know there are some men, of course, that knit, but the majority of men don't knit, so they don't see how special it is. They, you know, and they probably don't know. But anyway, or don't care. I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't matter. That's beside the point. So yes, that's the Ankers Summer Shirt. Did I want to say anything else? No, that's it, I think. Yeah. So yes, that's the first FO. Yeah, now FO number 2. Oh, let me put that button up so you can see it in its full glory. So this is the Novice Cardigan Junior. So it is a pattern basically for a beginner knitter, and it's the junior version, meaning it's for a child. I shall show you the pattern, also by Petite Knit. Yes, one day I will move away from Petite Knit. I'm sure the days will come. Yeah, that's the Novice Cardigan Junior Mohair Edition. And I've knitted this for my daughter, for my 9-year-old daughter Vivian. And I'm gonna add a picture here of my daughter wearing it. And it's a lovely cardigan. What size did I choose? Actually, I chose the smallest size 6 to 7 years, even though she's 9, because I achieved a different gauge. And so when you have a wider, bigger gauge, obviously you need to go down in the size, otherwise it would be too big. And the pattern gauge on this, here the pattern gauge is 21 stitches. I really should be, I have to take measurements and measure the gauge. I can't at the moment, I don't know. I didn't write it down. I don't know what gauge I achieved in the end. But I think it is bigger. So yes, that's the Novice Cardigan Junior. And I've knitted it. I can only show you the yarn label. I've knitted it with a merino wool and cashmere blend, and with a kid silk mohair held together. I've used Debbie Bliss Fine Donegal and Drops Kid Silk mohair. Kid Silk mohair held together, and it created a lovely warm fabric. And yeah, the color is just divine. Look at it. It's a tweedy color as well, so it has these tweedy specks. Yeah. And I think it's quite warm, you know, with mohair. It is very warm, so I think she's already kind of growing out of it already. Yeah, children do grow quite quickly. So yeah, I should have knitted it bigger, I suppose. But then again, my youngest can wear it. We have 2 daughters, so my 6-year-old will be able to wear it soon. So yeah, that's that. And just in regards to modifications, so what I tend to do, because so with this construction, let me come a bit closer. So the construction here, you start at the top, you knit down, you knit flat, because it's a cardigan, so you knit bit back and forth, knit and purl. And then it's not a raglan construction, yeah, so that means that all around the yoke you do increases. So one round would have you do quite a few increases, then you knit plain, then another round all around you do increases. The pattern spells it all out. I just had to go ahead and delete some videos of the memory card. It was full. So yeah, but yeah, let's continue. So yes, this cardigan. So I did a few modifications with, you know, oftentimes I would add length to garments, or I changed the gauge. I tend to not stick crazy, you know, to the pattern. I always just do my own thing, and yeah, just modify it basically, in a nutshell. So when you modify a garment, obviously you then have to also modify your button band. So the pattern goes by a certain length, and so it will tell you exactly when to knit the next buttonhole. But when you make it longer, you have to then account for that as well, because then you have to space the buttonholes equally. You know, you have to make sure that you don't have too many buttonholes or too few buttonholes. So I always do my own thing when I knit buttonholes. And it's quite simple. I mean, if you are interested, have a look on YouTube. There are thousands of tutorials. And one day I'd like to do my own tutorial, because I think I have my own take on knitting buttonholes and my own preference, what works much better and things like that. In fact, I believe the pattern, I don't want to give away too much because it's a paid for pattern, but it's possible, I don't want to say for sure because I can't remember, but it's possible that the pattern has you do knit two together, yarn over, which creates a buttonhole, okay? However, the way I knit my buttonholes is by binding off, and on the next row you cast on the same number of stitches you bind off. So that's what I always do with buttonholes. And so the way I space them, in ribbing, you can easily count the number of rows, of knit rows in between. So here would be the next buttonhole, right? So you simply, when you knit, so to knit a button band, you cast on stitches, sorry, not cast on, you pick up stitches, and then you knit the ribbing, and then when you get to a point where you feel the buttonhole should be, you do that trick by binding off, and you can even choose the size of the buttonhole that you like. So if you, for example, start with binding off 2 stitches and you find it's quite a small hole, then just bind off a 3rd stitch. And then on the next row, as I said, you just cast on again 3 stitches. And so the more stitches you cast off, the bigger the buttonhole will be. But anyway, I'm already going into a mini tutorial here. So that's how I do my buttonholes, and or even just measuring. So that's what you do anyway. So I had to make that modification. So yes, so that's FO number 2. I think I just rushed through this now, and I feel like I forgot to mention most of it. But yeah, that's the Petite Knit Novice Cardigan Junior. And my daughter wore it a few times, so that's nice. Yeah, FO number 2. I feel I have no more hair in my mouth. Right, and now the last FO that I'd like to show you, I'm going to put it on for you, is my Musselburgh hat. My first Musselburgh hat. So the majority, I would think, the majority of you know this pattern already. So first I'm just going to show you, and then I will talk about it. So you can either, oh, why does this look? Okay, so you can either wear it like this, or you can fold the brim up and wear it more like a, would that be a beanie? What do you call this? You can either then wear it like this. You know, you can choose how wide you want the brim to be. So the Musselburgh hat doesn't sit straight, never mind. The Musselburgh hat, I shall show you the pattern, is a pattern by Ysolda Teague. Yeah, Ysolda Teague. Musselburgh hat, extremely popular pattern. Over 22,000 projects on Ravelry. So next to the, I think I'm going to take this off, next to the Ranunculus, it is one of these crazy patterns. They are very popular, and there's a reason why they're popular, the Ranunculus and the Musselburgh hat. So the reason why I think it is such a great hat pattern, two reasons. Number one, the construction, because look at this. And I shall explain the construction. And number two is also, and I think that's probably the reason why people just want to knit the hat, is because you can just cast on with whatever yarn and needle size you like. You cast on, you knit, you start at the crown, you increase, you knit and increase at the same time, and then you measure your gauge. And then in the pattern there's a table. It tells you exactly the number. It tells you the gauge, yeah. So it has a very wide gauge, and I can tell you, I've got a pattern right here. So the stitch gauge, and that is per inch, is between 5 stitches per inch to 9 stitches per inch. So whatever gauge you achieve, so you would have, for example, 5 stitches, 5.5 stitches, 6 stitches, 6.5. So it's incrementing every half a stitch up to 9 stitches. So if you have, so for example, if you use DK or Aran weight yarn, it would give you a large gauge of just 5 stitches. If you use lace weight yarn, you can achieve up to 9 stitches in 1 inch. So based on the number of stitches per inch you have in your hat, you then choose the number of increase rounds you have to knit, and so that then determines the circumference for your hat, and then also for the different sizes. It's all spelled out in the pattern, so it has, and the size range is also extremely good. It goes from baby to adult XL, and I knitted the adult medium size. And my stitch gauge was, I had 7 stitches per inch. I knitted it with a fingering weight yarn, and I knitted it on 3.5 millimeter. So yeah, that's why I think this hat pattern is amazing. I'm not a hat knitter. I mean, I've knitted hats before and all, but I don't have to, you know, knit hats. I don't know. I guess I don't find pleasure in wearing different hats. You know, if I have one hat, that will be fine for me. I don't need many different hats. But yeah, the reason why I love this is because there's a long section of just vanilla knitting in the round stockinette stitch, and so I always love that because it's great TV knitting. And so I think I because you can actually knit it longer as well. The longer you knit this tube, then the bigger the hat will be, the bigger your brim will be, and then you can even wear it like a slouchy hat as well if you don't fold up the brim. So there's lots of different variations, which is amazing. It's very customizable, this pattern. You can even add 2 different colors, which a few knitters have done. So yeah, absolutely love it. And what I was going to say, oh yeah, the yarn. Yes, I've used, it's a hand dyer in the UK, Zakami. And this colorway is Caravaggio, 100% superwash fine merino. And I doubt that this is still available because, you know, they have different collections, different colorways, you know, they keep changing it. So that's that. And that's the fabric it created. It's really nice. It's not going to be my last Musselburgh hat because it's a great project, quick project, and it's lovely to knit. So the way this works, as I said, you start from the ground, you increase, you knit in the round, you knit this massive tube. Then before you do the decreases, you have to weave in your ends, otherwise you will not have a chance to weave in your ends. Oh, by the way, I watch mostly knitting podcast, Tash in Australia. She knitted quite a few of these Musselburgh hats. So, and some other podcasters, YouTubers, loads of, as I said, it's very popular. So lots of knitters, lots of podcasters knitted it. And so, excuse me, you then fold it. So you have this, you then fold it into itself. Let's see if I can do it on camera. There we go. Yeah, so you can see here, it's double layer, yeah? So because you fold it in itself, it's a double layer. And so it's quite warm. And then because you can fold it up once again for the brim, you would have 4 layers. So yeah, I like wearing it as a slouchy hat as well. Think it's super cool. And yeah, won't be my last one. And it just took me 3 weeks to knit this. You know, considering how busy I am, that was quite a quick knit for me actually. So yes, that was the last FO for today. Just gonna have another drink. Yes, tell me what you are working on in the comments below. That would be amazing. Yeah, please tell me. Is there... Oh, speaking of which, I just got inspired yesterday very much. Marie Wallin, she has a new book out called Aaron. I just found it yesterday. And I already have, on my knit list, I already have one of her patterns that I'd like to knit. That's the chestnut cardigan. So I haven't actually knit a Marie Wallin garment yet, but I just wanted to say she has a book out. So I'm just wondering, what are you working on? Perhaps are you working on an all-over color work sweater, or now that the spring is here, we are in the northern hemisphere, right? So spring, we've left winter behind, spring is on the way. Well, spring is here now, not on the way, it's here. So I've already now, actually I've been doing a bit of summer knitting as well. So maybe you're doing summer knitting? I wonder what are you working on? Just want to take this opportunity as well, whilst before we go into whips, to say a big thank you to all the new subscribers in the last 2 months or so. I had quite a increase in subscribers, so thank you so much. Anybody joining this channel and listening to me talk about my knitting. I am planning to do tutorials again in the future. I haven't done it in a while. I want to do it in the near future. You know, my daughters are getting older, they will be more independent, so I have more time. And I enjoy doing the tutorials because I rely heavily on YouTube. Since I started knitting, I learned to knit every single technique, and there are thousands of techniques out there. It's confusing to new knitters actually, because there's only 2 basic knit stitches, which is the knit and the purl stitch. There is in a sense no other stitch, only knit and purl, but there are thousands of variations of these 2 stitches. So this is where YouTube comes in, and yeah, it's amazing for that, for learning new knitting techniques, other things as well, of course. So yes, so I will be doing tutorials. So thank you for subscribing again, and thank you for spending your time with me. And please let me know and give me the likes as well, and leave me a comment. Tell me where you are in the world. Tell me, do you do a lot of knitting? When do you knit? Why do you knit? Yes, just random in the middle there between FO and whips, sorry. So we're gonna now jump into whips. So the first whip, it's a very big one, so I'm housing this in quite a large project bag. Oh, isn't it so cute? It's a commercially made bag from Hobbycraft. And in here is my Timepiece cardigan. It's knit in unspun yarn, so I have to be careful as I take it out of the bag. Because as some of you may know, or most of you may know, I don't know, unspun yarn breaks very easily. I'm going to show you the garment first and then I shall talk about it. So this is the Timepiece Cardigan, and I will show you the pattern. By Albiona McLaughlin. So it has a gauge of 18 stitches in the pattern, but it gives you the option to also go down or up by 1 stitch. So yeah, you can go down to 17 stitches, and then she just recommends to choose the smaller size. And so I'm knitting it with Nutiden, holding it double. And I'm knitting it in this gorgeous, gorgeous green color. Yeah, this is a big project of mine. I've had this on the needle since last year, end of last year. And it's very slow going because it is knit in, because it's knit back and forth, you know, purling is always slower for me than knitting. Plus it's knitted in unspun yarn, so you have to knit more consciously, you know, you can't just yank on the yarn, you have to go a bit slower. Because yeah, unspun yarn, it breaks very easily. So yeah, it's been on my needle, and then also I put it aside whilst I started the Musselburgh hat. Yes, so yeah, long-standing project, takes a long time to knit it. I have finished the body, it's quite long, and I've added the webbing here on the bottom. I have not cast off yet, because I'm a bit worried now that the yarn is not going to last for the sleeves. You can see that I have started the first sleeve. Yeah, just maybe about 1 inch I've knitted on the first sleeve. So I'm worried that I'm gonna run out of yarn. So yeah, I have to play yarn chicken. So that's why I haven't bound off the bottom, because if I am out of yarn, I can always whip back a little and then, you know, make the yarn last that way. Because I do want the sleeves to be long. It would be a shame if they only come up to here, you know, so I'd rather just take a bit of length off of the bottom. So yeah, there's a bit of a story here, a backstory to this one, because the pattern itself has a 18 stitch gauge, and my gauge, when I swatched, I used 5mm and I had 16 stitches, yeah. So that means it would have been bigger. I already chose the smallest size because I am more petite really. So I already chose the smallest size. So because I had a different gauge, I had 16 stitches instead of 17 stitches, I chose the smallest size. But then I made the mistake to go down again in needle size and started with 4.5mm, which made the garment in the end actually too small for me. I'm actually really, I believe in swatching, right? I'm not one of those that just cast on and knit and, you know, hope for the best. So I do swatch, but then I don't follow my own swatch, which sometimes, not always, but sometimes. And so I must have done probably come to maybe 17 or 18 stitches. Is that right? Yeah, because I went down in needle size. It gave me more stitches in 10 centimeters. And so that's why the garment then, when I was here at the sleeve separation, was too small. So then I had to continue with the raglan increases in order to split for the sleeves so that the sleeves would be big enough and so that I can actually close the garment. If I hadn't done extra additional raglan increases, it would be too small. So the pattern tells you exactly how many stitches you should have before you split for the sleeve, but I had to add more, okay? So now that's the issue, that the top of the garment is a size small, but because I increased more stitches from this point on, the bottom is a bit bigger. So it went a bit all belly up, to be honest, in terms of gauge and size, and it's totally my fault, as I said. So yeah, I was like contemplating even should I whip it out and just scrap it. But I decided to continue, and I'm hoping for the best. And I've tried it on, and I think it will look nice. I think that's what I'm trying to say. I think it will look nice. I can't really put my sleeve through, unfortunately, because obviously I don't want to lose stitches either. But yeah, actually no point putting it on, but I'm just going to do it like this. So yes, it's a very warm cardigan. I'll be able to wear it really in the winter because it is lightweight but yet extremely warm, because unspun yarn it's very airy, so there's lots of air in, which gives you the insulation, the warmth, but at the same time it's lightweight. So yeah, I would highly recommend you to try and knit with unspun yarn. So this is Honor og Air Nutiden and it's from their September collection. I have to check again to make sure I didn't drop any stitches. Yes. Yeah, so that's the first whip, and because once again I'm modifying the pattern, the garment heavily, I have to again do my own thing regards the button band. The pattern tells you exactly when to knit the buttonholes and things like that, but as I said, I'm spacing them out differently, and I'm knitting them differently. I can show you one buttonhole here already. Can you see there's one buttonhole there? And this is my spacing there. There's one there, and then the next one's up here. The button band is knit at the same time as you knit the garment. Because it's a cardigan, the majority of cardigans really are knit from the top down. So you start with this small neckband here. You then increase, sorry, not increase, you pick up stitches here, and then you just knit down. It's quite an interesting construction that I had not done before. A tiny bit similar to my moonset pullover, actually, the constructions at the top here. So yes, so I can't wait to have this finished. You know, it's a big project, and I'm not a fan of frogging. So I can only think of maybe once or twice that I've frogged a project. So I'm glad I didn't. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm glad I didn't frog it. I continued with it, and it's such a special cardigan as well, because it feels so lovely. It's a very wholesome feeling knitting with this very woolly wool. Yeah, it's a lovely feeling. I could just highly recommend it to anybody. It's like whilst you're knitting it, you're wearing a blanket, really. So yeah, that's that. I am hoping in the next podcast I'll be able to show you this as a finished object, and fingers crossed that I will be happy with it. So FO number 2 is actually another cardigan, and it's another queen cardigan. So this is a total coincidence that I'm actually knitting on 2 queen cardigans, really. Yeah, total coincidence. My mum, I've been wanting to knit something for my mum for quite some time, and so now finally I'm doing it, and she said she would like to have a queen cardigan, so this is how this happened. And I am knitting the Magnolia Junkie cardigan by Camilla Watt, and it's for my mum. She recently came to visit us in the Easter time, and so I had her try it on just to make sure before I split for the sleeves. So this also is actually quite a plain cardigan, because I will be omitting the lace section. A little more to that later on, so I'm just going to show you. So you can see I've already split for the sleeves and knitted a few inches. I'm not crazy about the project, not really loving the knit, just because I'm not a fan of this yarn. I don't know how to describe it. I've looked it up, and hang on, is this yarn? So I'm knitting it, so I'm holding this together with this yarn, one strand of this, which is I think merino, holding it together with 2 strands of silk mohair, which gives me this fabric, yeah, at a large stitch gauge. And yeah, I'm just not loving it because of the merino wool. I think it's because it's superwash. So this yarn is called the Yarn Collective Bloomsbury DK Merino Wool. Yeah, it looks nice in the ball, but not nice to knit with. In the moss color. So it's 100% wool, made in Peru, and it doesn't really specify, but I'm pretty sure this is superwash. Yeah, it doesn't feel nice. That superwash feeling, don't like it. I prefer to knit with non-superwash wool. But anyway, at the moment it's going well, the knit. Oh, I could actually put this on for you, let's see. And my mum, as I said, my mum tried it on. And around the neck here, it's a tiny bit small, so I'm going to have to stretch this out when I block it. And you then have to knit the button band separately and the sleeves, and then it's done. But at the moment this is on hold anyway, because you know, my mum lives in Germany, I live in London. So I'm not going to see her for some time, which means that I can park this project for later on in the year, end of the year perhaps. Planning to go to Germany in the Christmas time, I'm hoping, so I can then take this with me, almost finished. So I don't have to knit on this now, especially because I'm not enjoying the knit at the moment. So it's one of these things, you know, when you decide to knit for somebody else, for a loved one, then you may feel obliged, or you may feel that, oh yeah, I have to knit this now because I said I would. So that's what you have to do, and that's life. And then it's going to be a selfish knit again after that, so that's fine. You know, could be worse, right? As long as we're still knitting, could be... Not knitting would be worse than knitting something you don't enjoy knitting. But anyway, so yeah, that's that. And the reason why I'm... Oh, actually, I'm going to show you the lace. Sorry, I'm always jumping ahead of myself, sorry. It's quite a beautiful cardigan, right? With these bobbles here and lace pattern. But I will not be knitting the lace. Because for 2 reasons. Number one, I don't think my mum would really appreciate it, because she wants more functional cardigan that will keep her warm. And number two, it's really strange. In the pattern, it tells you after you split for the sleeve, straight away you go into the lace section. Yeah, but the lace section, by the looks of it, would only start at the halfway point of the total cardigan, more towards the hem. However, in the pattern it says to go without any further stockinette stitching. You go straight into the lace section. I've read the pattern twice, and maybe it's possible I'm missing something, but it does say, you know, after split for the sleeve, go straight into the lace section, into the chart. So I find that odd. But how can that be? Surely you do a little bit of knitting here before you start this section. Odd. But that's that. Anyway, I'm not doing it anyway, so. And I tend to not check my gauge now whilst I'm knitting the garment. I mean, I did a gauge swatch. This, I think, here is my itty bitty gauge swatch. So I do gauge swatch. I do it, yeah? But I haven't checked it since I've been knitting the garment. I should really, shouldn't I? So that was whip number 2. And now let's move on to whip number 3. 2 more to go. I am knitting a Ranunculus. Yes, my first Ranunculus. That is my summer whip already, because I'm knitting it in a summer. Oh, sorry, I'm knitting it in a summery yarn. So which way is this around now? This might be. Yeah, this is the back and this is the front. Oh, I wish I could put this on. I might put it on for you later to see how it fits. Isn't it so beautiful? Look at this. That is the ever so popular Ranunculus in this beautiful pink color. And we are going to Turkey at the end of July. I'm hoping to obviously have this finished then, because it's actually a very quick knit. It's knit at a loose gauge, so it'll be very quick, yeah. And the pattern has several options. You can either do a very wide neck or a smaller neck. You can do long or very short sleeves. So I'll be going for just short sleeves, but I will add a little bit of knitting. I don't want it to sit right here. I want to have a bit of a sleeve, a short sleeve. So I'll be doing that. And then also I didn't do it has a special cast on in the pattern, kind of a complicated cast on. I did not do that. I did my standard cast on and it fit. It's not a wide neckline. I think it sits like about here. And I can't wait to have this finished. I mean, isn't that gorgeous? For any of you who don't know the Ranunculus, it is a yoked top-down sweater. And it has a couple of raglan increases then after you knit the yoke. And then you just knit the body plain in the round, smooth sailing. And then you're done. And it's just lovely. Really enjoying it. I can see myself knitting a winter Ranunculus. So many of you have done that, you know, they've knitted several Ranunculuses in all sizes, all shapes and sizes, in all colors, in all fiber, all the fibers you could think of, because this is probably the most popular knitting pattern on Ravelry. Yeah, I'm knitting it with the Drops Belle. And this is a DK weight, inexpensive yarn, and it contains cotton, viscose and linen. And yeah, it's creating this lovely airy fabric. Yeah. Tell me what you think. Do you like it? What do you think? I think it will be nice. Yeah. The good thing, once again, probably one of the reasons why this pattern is so popular, is that you don't have to commit to the size when you start knitting. You knit the yoke, and only when you finish knitting the yoke, then you can try it on and check the fit, and make an educated guess as to how big you need it to be in order to fit you. So you then choose the size based on your fit and based on your preference. I don't want to have a loose Ranunculus, you know. I want it to be not obviously, you know, tight, but you know, it still has to be loose, because it has to be a loose, airy garment, you know, in the winter in the summer when you're sweating. So yes, I haven't chosen the size yet because I'm not at this point. But anyway, I want to soon split for the sleeves and then just do the vanilla knitting. I can't wait for that. That was whip number 3. And now the final whip is actually, I haven't shown this in the podcast yet, never. However, it's been a whip for the past 7 years. So this has been in my naughty corner, in my knitting naughty corner. I've cast this on 7 years ago, knitted it, and then I put it aside because I didn't enjoy the knit. But I recently decided to take it out of hibernation. And I know as well why I stopped knitting on it. At the time, a few years ago, when I stopped, because I was still new to knitting, you know, you learn more, right, as you go along, and you learn your preferences, and you learn what you like. You learn a lot more about yourself. You know what you like to knit. You know what needles you like. You know what fiber you like, and etc. etc. At the time, I didn't know. You subconsciously don't like it, but you don't know why you're putting it in the corner, if that makes sense. But anyway, now I know why I put it in the corner, and I also know why I'm picking it up again. So yeah, this is the Arabella shawl by Skano that I took out of hibernation. And I knitted a few rows last night. I picked it up right there and then last night for the first time after 7 years. No, I'm showing you the wrong side now. No, we don't want to see the wrong side. We want to see the right side because it's so pretty. Yeah. Oh, gorgeous. The Arabella shawl. It's kind of hard to get it on screen, so I'm trying my best. I will move back. Perhaps show it like this. So, first I shall tell you about the project, and then I'll tell you why I stopped knitting it. So this is the Arabella shawl by Skano, and I'm knitting it with the recommended yarn. So it was sold as a kit 7 years ago, where you get the pattern for free, but you have to buy the yarn. Not necessarily, actually. Let me take this back. You don't have to buy the yarn, but it was sold as a kit. You get the pattern for free, and you can still get the pattern nowadays. I believe it's on Ravelry as a free download. Correct me if I'm wrong though, because I haven't checked. And then you can of course choose whatever yarn you like. But at the time it was sold with this braid. So the braid contains 7 colors. Yeah, this is how you get this effect. So I have already knitted, let's count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm on my 7th triangle, 7th color, look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm now on this color. So you knit the triangle. It is achieved by knitting short rows. These are just the standard short rows wrap and turns. However, you don't have to do the wrap. So you just do the turn and you don't need to do the wrap. It is all spelled out in the pattern. If you are interested, then please go to YouTube, Very Pink Knits Arabella shawl. I will link it below, because that's how I learned about this pattern all these years ago. Yes, I'm a big fan of Very Pink Knits, Stacy. She's lovely, and she's not so active now anymore on YouTube, but she does have hundreds and hundreds of videos, tutorials, and also selling her own patterns as well. So yeah, so she did a tutorial on the Arabella shawl in cooperation with Skano. I don't know if they're still actually, if they are, what's the word? If they're operating, I don't know. But anyway, you could basically just get the pattern and you could just choose any yarn, really. And yeah, so you then move from color to color. That my next color will be this one, and then I move up and this will be the last color. And yeah, so I think that's enough regards the pattern and the yarn, because I don't want to go into explaining how to knit it now. You know, I don't want to bore you with the details, but you basically just knit it with short rows, and then you cast on. When you do the next in between, you have yarn overs and knit 2 togethers to create this lacy row here in between, and then you just cast on stitches here as well. But anyway, I will stop now. If you're interested, have a look, yeah, in the pattern. I think it is still available. I will probably do a bit of research and then I put it here on the screen and let you know. Now, the reason why I stopped knitting this, even though it's actually beautiful, why did I stop knitting on it? I think there are 3 reasons. Yes, there are 3 reasons. Number 1 is I'm not a big fan of garter stitch. So this is garter stitch, yeah. I like stockinette stitch way better. Even, I mean, in the round where you just knit, I find it easier to knit with garter stitch because you have this little scarf around the stitch. You know, it's just slower for me knitting garter stitch. That's number 1. Now, the biggest reason why I don't like it is because even though this is gorgeous and soft, I don't like the fiber, because let me show you here. It's a single ply, and I don't like single ply yarns. So there's no twist to it. And it's quite splitty as well. Yeah, when you can't just do fast knitting. It splits easily, this yarn, and because there's no twist, there's no substance to it, you know. So I'm not enjoying the yarn too much, and that's reason number 2 why I don't like it. Reason number 3 is because I'm using also not the wrong needles, but I'm using needles that are not very smooth. Even though they are metal needles, the yarn doesn't slide easily on it. So these are the Knit Pro needles, and I don't tend to knit with them anymore. I used to all these years ago, but now I primarily only use Jago needles. So what I will be doing is put this big beast on the Jago needles, because you will actually end up, in the end, when you finish with the last color, you will have over 300 stitches, right? Because you never bind off the other colors. You still have the live stitches here on the go. Can you see? These are all the live stitches still. So you need a long cord for them. And so yeah, so I will be putting that on different needles, so then at least I will enjoy it more, because then I'm hoping with my preference of needles being Jago, it will feel more comfortable. And so yeah, that is that. I hope I will finish it this time. That's the plan. We shall see. We shall see. In terms of my annual knitting plan, I did a video 2 months ago or so. It's going well, because I think I have 3 projects on my knitting plan I'm already knitting, or have knit already, which is the Musselburgh hat that was on my knitting plan of my Make 9, that's already knit, and I'm working on the Ranunculus, which is on it, and then also the Magnolia chunky as well. So yeah, I'm on track, I think. So yes, these are all my whips, 4 whips, 3 FOs. So yes, that was everything that I wanted to. Well, not everything. My projects, in terms of projects, that was everything that I wanted to show you. And I did want to mention some other bits as well. Just super busy. Yeah, my children, my 2 girls, our 2 girls, they've been at home because they were on their Easter break. So always, busy doing things with my children, and obviously still working full time, studying. I'm still studying. I'm busy with that. Looking after our fish. We have tropical fish. I will also add actually some footage of that. I hope if you appreciate it, then enjoy that little section at the end. I'm gonna film the fish, and I enjoyed it. I love sitting there and watching our fish. It's very calming, and there's research as well that it lowers your blood pressure as well, because it's very calming. And knitting is calming. It's so good for the soul. So yes, yeah, that's the life update. Just nothing happening. Just busy. Running the show, with supporting our girls with their schoolwork and work commitments, house commitments, social commitments, taking the girls to birthday parties, to play dates, taking them to their activities. Our oldest, she does karate and swimming, and our youngest, Eloise, our 6-year-old, she does swimming, karate, and ballet as well. So on a Saturday, so Daddy took them this morning to swimming, and then next week it's my turn again. So yeah, so she does karate, swimming, and ballet. Karate and swimming is something that they definitely have. They have to do that, because swimming is a life skill, And karate in that sense is also a life skill, you know, in terms of self-defense. You know, when they go out into the world, maybe do their traveling, things like that, and if should something happen, then they can defend themselves. So karate is very important. And our oldest, she is now in the advanced class. She got her purple white belt. So yeah, we're busy with that, taking them to the activities. And so yeah, any of you who have children, they know exactly what I'm talking about. So yeah, it's never boring really. So that's my quick life update. And then I wanted to show you two things. I'm not sure if we can call them acquisitions, but anyway, it is still knitting related. Well, this one is very much knitting related. I'm going to show you this book now. The opinionated knitter Elizabeth Zimmermann, including her original newsletters from 1958 to 1968. I'm a big fan of Elizabeth Zimmermann. She was extremely, and still is now, extremely popular. She is one of these really knitting innovators of her time. So I'm just going to show you this book. And you know, if you know Elizabeth Zimmermann's books, they are so amazing because she includes some stories of her life. And look, there's a picture of her, of Elizabeth Zimmermann way back then. She's always talking of her old man, which was her husband, and yeah, and there are some amazing patterns in here. It includes the percentage. Oh yeah, EPS. It includes the EPS, which stands for the Elizabeth Percentage System, I believe. And basically this is a method of knitting a sweater. So you would have, how can I put that? Words, they fail me today. So let's say you have, let's say the body is 100%, yeah? Let's say your body has 140 stitches, okay? And that's, you go by that number, 140 stitches. Then, corresponding to your size and gauge, you then have a certain percentage of stitches that you would have for the sleeve. And I even think for the wrist and for the neck. So it's a high level method of basically designing and knitting a sweater. I haven't used it yet, so that's why I don't know the full details. But it's in most of the books. It's called the EPS, the Elizabeth Percentage System, where you can just with some simple maths basically find out your gauge first of all. You knit a swatch, yeah. You measure your gauge. You measure your body. You do some maths to find out how many stitches you need for the body. And then looking at that method, at the EPS system, you can find out how many stitches you need for the neck. And you then cast on that number of stitches. You then know how many stitches you have to increase in order to get to this number. And you also know your sleeve stitches, going by that system. And let me just show you some photos. So yeah, it includes her original newsletters, which I think is so awesome. Got this. And then there's let me show you one of the newsletters as well. So yeah, it's amazing, and I do want to do. I'm planning to do one pattern. It's not really a fully written out pattern. It's more a recipe. But I want to do the Icelandic yoke sweater. Let me show you on page 76. Amazing. I already have one other Elizabeth Zimmermann book called A Knitter's Almanac by Elizabeth Zimmermann, and I've also knitted a couple of items from that book as well. Another knitting innovator of her time back then is Barbara Walker, and she very much promoted knitting from the top down, which is in many ways easier than knitting from the bottom up, because you can actually try on the garment and make sure it fits. So yeah, this is the Icelandic sweater here. The Icelandic yoke sweater. So it has a schematic here as well. So it will tell you basically when to increase. I believe this one is knit from the bottom up. You knit the sleeves separately, then you join them all together. Then you can add a collar work section, and she gives you a little table here as well. And I believe, oh, there she is, look. Oh, there's Elizabeth Zimmermann, look. Oh, amazing woman. There is one, I found one video of her, a quick video on YouTube of it. Type in Elizabeth Zimmermann if you're interested. There's one quick video there. Because I believe she also did, there's also some digital tapes as well of the newsletters, I believe, but I couldn't find them. I don't think that they are available on YouTube, but I might be wrong. I think her newsletters, they were in written format, and then they were sent out, but I think she also did some DVDs as well, some videos, I believe. And maybe in some archive they're still available somewhere, or they might be damaged, I don't know. But that's the thing with, you know, with things from the past, there's always wear and tear, you know, time will leave a mark on anything, right? Yeah, amazing, absolutely amazing. I could just sit and read this book. I don't have to just knit these items, you know, but even just reading them is such a pleasure. And there's some lovely pictures here. Oh, look at this. Oh, God, look. There in the middle, that's Elizabeth Zimmermann. Yeah. Very inspirational lady for me. Because she had the balls to do her own thing. Publications would always convert her patterns to, I believe, seamed patterns. So she would create a pattern, a design, being it seamless, so it's all knit in one piece where you don't have to do seaming, which is nice for a knitter, right? You don't have to do seaming. But then so she would send it off to publications, and then the publications, they then just changed her pattern without consulting her, if I understand this correctly, and then they would suddenly just publish a pattern very loosely still based on her old pattern, but they changed it into a seamed garment, which means you have to knit it in pieces and then seam it together. And so she was furious about that. So that's what forced Elizabeth Zimmermann back then to do her own thing and come out with her newsletters. So basically she started her own business. And I might be wrong here, but I think she also started selling yarn as well. She started selling yarn with the newsletters. Yeah, amazing. So yeah, I wanted to show you this as well. I would highly recommend this. On top of the Elizabeth Zimmermann Knitting Almanac. So then the last item I want to show you, and then it's the end because it's a long episode, I think. So first I'm going to just tell you the story, and then I will show you what I have here. So basically in the evening is always the time when I just tend to knit, right? When the kids are in bed and I watch. When the kids are in bed and I finished work, you know, this is my me time. I sit and knit, and even if the house is a bit dirty and messy, no, I'm not doing chores in the evening. Anyway, going off topic again. So I tend to always, so when we read with our girls before bedtime, my daughter, she always, my 9-year-old, she always reads in her mind when we do read together. And I always use that time to knit while she reads. My daughter asked me to read Harry Potter, to start reading Harry Potter, and I was never into Harry Potter. I never read it. I never thought it would interest me. I'm a big fan of Lord of the Rings, but never really got into Harry Potter. But my daughter has been reading Harry Potter for a while, and she is on the 5th one now. And so she said some time ago, "Mommy, please can you just start reading Harry Potter, because then we have something to talk about. Then it's easier to connect, and it's so important to do as many things as you can with your children. It is so important before they grow up." And so, I was torn in between. I still want to do my knitting, but I also have to read now, right, for my daughter. And so what I decided to do is to learn to read and knit at the same time. So the only way this would work is when I do stockinette stitch in the round. That's when I can basically knit without looking. So how can I read, right, and knit at the same time? So this is where this comes in. So this is a book stand. I shall show you. Oh, so this book stand allows me basically to knit and read at the same time, because so you have this storage area here inside. Yeah, I will link it below. I bought this on Amazon, and this improved my life. It really did, and I chose the right product. I did a lot of research, because you want to make sure, obviously, that the book really, there's lots of products out there, and some products are not fit for purpose. So you do have to look carefully, because this is amazing. It has this, it has this little stand here, and then you've got these that hold the pages in place, okay? Like that. And I think I will actually do a tutorial. Now thinking about this, I will do a tutorial on how to knit and read at the same time using a book stand as this. So yeah, isn't it so amazing? I love it! So yes, my Musselburgh hat, which was just stockinette stitch in the round, I was able to knit whilst I was reading Harry Potter. So I'm on the 3rd one now, Harry Potter 3, The Prisoner of Azkaban. So that's what I'm reading at the moment. Yes, I think we have come to an end now, a long episode, and yeah, I'm gonna add a footage here of the fish. For any of you who enjoy that, then, please enjoy this. If not, then, you can pause now. That's the end of the knitting content. And I really loved coming to you today. Thank you so much for watching. And if you would like to see more, then subscribe and hit the bell button as well, so you will be notified when I upload a new video. And so that's all. Stay knitting, stay warm, stay hydrated as well. I'm really thirsty now. I have to go drink something. So yes, and yeah, I hope you all are well, and I see you in my next episode. Bye!